Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be doing a Q&A over on Instagram. I asked a few days ago if anybody had any questions about IVF to fire them my way. Nothing was off the table and I got some great responses. So I am going to be answering those questions. Before we get started, let's do a little bit of business. My name is Eileen Normanley. Eileen Normanley? I got married. That's not my name anymore. I'm Eileen Vincett. I haven't said my name Eileen Normanley in a long time. Wow, I got married. Let's try that again, take two. If you are new to my channel, my name is Eileen Vincett and I am an American expat living over in Switzerland, finishing up the stimulation part of my IVF cycle and getting ready to do an egg retrieval tomorrow. My husband and I have had 7 miscarriages, and this is our hope that we can find a super strong embryo for me to carry and hold a pregnancy. Just to catch you up before we get started, gosh, you guys, it's 1:45. I've been here since about 9:30 this morning needing to tape this video, and I just haven't done it. I have this weird psychological block with IVF that is a bit of a surprise to me. When we first kind of started going and taking our pills to put my ovaries to sleep, I was like, I'm gonna be checking in every day, I'm gonna document the whole thing, and then I just didn't. And a friend of mine asked me, like, what's going on? How are you doing with all of it? And I kind of gave her this answer and she's like, you seem a little detached. And she's right. I've been very detached from the whole thing. I can easily talk about it to most people without getting emotional. Very matter of fact, I make lots of jokes about it, but that's just who I am. I make lots of jokes. I don't know. I think I do know. I think I do know. I think I know that IVF, if it's this round, if it's maybe one more round, whatever it is, this is the last go for us. And I'm starting to mentally prepare myself for it not working. And I'm not a negative person, but I also don't want to get my hopes up so high and then have that crash of disappointment and sadness again. Because my case is a little different in that I've been pregnant 7 times in the last 2.5 years. So I've had that excitement and then that fall. I've had that excitement and then that fall. And then pretty soon the excitement of being pregnant was just replaced with the anxiety of being pregnant. So with all of this stuff with IVF, I'm like, right, okay, let's give myself the injections. And I haven't put any videos here. Sorry, it's not like a big injection sharing journey. Go over to Instagram. I shoot myself up all over stories on Instagram. But I've been giving the injections to myself. I've been going to my doctor's appointments. But I've just kind of been going through it and not emotionally getting attached to the prospect of being pregnant. That's kind of strange. We did find out in my doctor's appointment last Friday and then again yesterday that my right ovary has responded, which is great. My left ovary has not responded to the hormones. So my max egg count, they think, for tomorrow's retrieval is 5 eggs. And if you're familiar with IVF, this is not a good number. And I haven't been too devastated about it because I keep going, okay, well, we just need 1. But I was a little upset on Friday. I just asked the doctor, I was like, is there something that I've done wrong? And she was like, no, no, no. And I just lost it. I started crying because, you know, the difference between 5 eggs and 10 eggs is quite a big difference. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. More eggs, more chances of them surviving the fertilization and the 5 days in the lead up to the embryo testing, which we are having. You end up with a prospect of more embryos. So that was really upsetting. But after the retrieval tomorrow, we'll see how many eggs we get and we'll just go from there. Anyway, that's a quick check-in with me and how things are going with IVF on my front. So, okay, let's dive into these questions. I haven't looked at these. The first question I received is, I'm starting stim soon. How bloated and painful does your abdomen really get? I mean, it's a joke I'm making, but I genuinely joke around that I feel like a hormone pumped up animal on a farm, which unfortunately is how a lot of our meat is manufactured these days. I just feel like a GMO chicken or turkey. I feel very bloated. If you ate like a double dose of ramen noodles, you know how all that salt just makes you kind of, it's kind of like that. I just feel really bloated and my boobs are sore. But everybody reacts differently. You know, I know some people said it wasn't a big thing for them, and other people was like, it was so bad, it was really, really uncomfortable. So expect to be bloated, but also know that it's not a really long time. Most stim shots are like a week, maybe a little more. So you've been through a lot, you can survive a week, it won't be that bad. So don't worry, and good luck with your stims and your IVF. The next question I got was, how are you dealing with the pain from the needles? The first one was Vertigspritze Decapeptyl. And that shot was, it was okay. It wasn't that painful to put in. I did a little psychological thing with myself. Every time I went to put the needle in my leg, which we do here in Switzerland, I said to myself, you have suffered through a lot of pain. This is nothing. I've been definitely like crouched down in the shower crying so sad. I've ugly cried in public. I've ugly cried to complete strangers multiple times. I know this is all emotional pain, but I was like, this is nothing. A little pinch on my skin, stick that needle in there, girl. And I have to tell you, when I would say that, it was empowering and I was happy to give that injection to myself. So it was just a little pinch. I've had so much blood taken in the last few months and over the last 2.5 years with my miscarriages that needles don't really bother me, full stop. So to give it to myself, it was just that little hurdle of doing it myself that I had to get through. And then it was just like a little pinch. The part that actually hurts more than putting the needle in is when you are squeezing, you're pushing the hormone down into your body. Because I guess if you are into a muscle or something, like it's got like a burning feeling. Just go to like a yoga place with really deep breathing and through the whole thing. That was your yoga demo. Do that. And it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. And the second shot, which the name I cannot remember, I'll have to find out what it was and I'll put it right down here at the bottom if I can figure out what it was called. The needle went in like butter into my skin. It kind of creeps me out how easy needles go into skin. I thought I was gonna have to do like a little puncture. You don't, they slide right in. Isn't that weird? It's kind of creepy if you think about it. Ugh. Creepy. Didn't hurt that bad though. Should somebody going through IVF share everything with the people around them, relatives, friends, etc.? This is a really good question, and it definitely fully depends on you, the type of person you are, the type of relationship you have with the people around you. I'm trying to figure out what it would have been like if Andy and I were the only two people that knew it. I think that would be very difficult because when I was on those Primulot pills in the first 3 weeks, I was super low and my friends needed to know what was going on. And some days I needed to vent if I was having an off day. So obviously if it's me, I told everybody because I'm just an open book and I'm documenting it because I don't feel very comfortable, me personally, living in a way where my vulnerabilities aren't out there and my hardships aren't out there. I feel like I am much more comfortable in my own skin if people know what they're getting in terms of like life experience, what's going on with me and all of that. I can never pretend that I'm not stressed out or not going through a hard time. I'm just not good at it. So for me, I was an open book. My advice would be, if you're not that type of personality, totally fine. I mean, it comes with its own issues. I would say definitely share it with your family. And by family, I mean the people that are closest to you. This might not be your parents. This might not be your siblings. It might be your family that is your closest friends, the people that you trust the most, the people that you know won't hijack the conversation if you tell them about it, won't go off and tell everybody. People that you really, really trust, if that's your family or your friendly. I would maybe pick a few people to tell. Obviously, talk this over with your partner, make sure they're on the same page and that you guys are comfortable with telling a few people if you decide to do that. Otherwise, if you and your partner want to keep it between the two of you, I would seriously consider maybe talking to a therapist or a counselor if you're in the UK, just so you have somebody who isn't your partner necessarily that you can vent off maybe the female specific things that you're going through that maybe your husband Is it gonna understand? Men and women cope with things in much different ways, so you might just need that extra set of ears. It's really an individual decision, but hopefully that helps give you some inspiration to make the right decision for you. How do you deal with the question, what if it doesn't work? If somebody asks you, what if it doesn't work? And I have had maybe 1 or 2 people ask me that in a really nice way. It's like, have you guys thought about what's next if it doesn't go the way you want it to? All a nice way of saying the exact same thing. If somebody says that, I mean, again, I'm really honest. I'm like, I don't know. We try again. I don't know if adoption, we're not so sure about that anymore, or we just have 1 child and that's okay. That's my response. But it's all about what your personality is. If it's uncomfortable, the simple answer is just, I don't know. I don't know. And that will shut it down pretty quick. I mean, you kind of hope they won't volunteer advice at that point. Maybe they will. Or another option you could say is, to be honest, we're not thinking that far ahead now. We're just taking it day by day with our current treatment cycle. So we haven't given it much thought. And again, that'll shut it down. They'll move on. It's so tricky. People don't know what to ask and what to say. They don't know what's kind of appropriate and what's not. Some people are really tough on people who ask those kinds of questions. It's the same with like so when are you gonna have another child? When we have Patrick already and they're wondering when we're gonna have a second. They seem like really insensitive questions, and in a lot of ways they are, but I'm in the camp that I just give people the benefit of the doubt. They don't know. They don't know that that's triggering and that it hurts. I was the same person before I started going through this, and I try to remember that people's intentions are good, but if you do get caught off guard with that question, I would start with those 2 responses. Either, I don't know, or to be honest, we haven't given it much thought. We're just trying to stay focused on this current cycle. I'll shut it down. Another part, I guess it's a part B to that question. She said, how do you deal with colleagues, bosses, etc., if they ask questions like, is this risky? In case there's really unhelpful advice, comments, and stuff like that, how do you deal with it? I would just say if you have these types of personalities in your life, like I've had some challenging bosses in my life, I don't know, maybe don't share it with them. Just say I have a medical thing that I'm going through that's gonna require me to be out of work, some doctor's appointments. I would choose maybe not to share it with them. And that goes back to the earlier question of who do you tell? That way you don't have to worry about being in that position. But if for some reason you have to tell work because you're getting a lot of pushback about being out of the office, I think the easiest thing to do is, it's on a question by question basis, but if somebody says, is it risky? I'd say, yeah, so you better be nice to me, because if this doesn't work, I'm gonna be devastated. Or I don't know, I would just give them the honest answer. Is it risky? No, it's not risky. I don't think I'm gonna die tomorrow, my retrieval, but don't tell people at work if you don't have to. Just tell HR. Tell somebody you really trust, a really good friend. Here's a good test, I am talking in circles. If you wouldn't go for a drink with somebody that you work with and like enjoy a conversation or invite them over to your house on the weekend, they're not the people to tell. Don't tell those people, because you are gonna get weird questions like that if they're that type of personality. Just share it with people that are really close with you. I didn't give you a good answer there, but you get my gist, right? Do you get my gist? Okay. The next question, is there anything really important to look for when choosing your IVF doctor? Well, I can't really help you on that one because I'm in Switzerland and there wasn't a huge amount of choice. We chose University Hospital in Zurich because they do a ton of research. Like any of my embryos that aren't viable, I have opted to donate those to use for research. Absolutely. If I can move the needle forward to help out future couples struggling with infertility, take all those embryos. Don't throw them in the trash. Good God, use them, study them, farm them, do whatever you gotta do. Find the answer. Why does this keep happening? Why am I having so many miscarriages? Help somebody else out. If this is coming from the United States, I think in the United States it's much more competitive. I mean, it's always good to go word of mouth. I didn't have an incredible experience with using Reddit, but Reddit is a good place to look to get maybe reviews and feedback anonymously about clinics, fertility clinics in your area. Or there must be articles online. There must be like reviews in the medical world ranking the top ones. So just do your research. That's probably the easy answer. The next question is, oh, I know this person. How many rounds of IVF have you gone through? This is our first round, first retrieval, first transfer in a few days. How many rounds will we go through? I don't know. I am old. I am 39, 35. I don't know how many we'll go through. So that's our first. The next question is, how long do you have to take shots? We started taking shots I think it ended up being 2 weeks. Is that right? No, it ended up being a week and a half. So it was like 9-10 days. And it just depends on how your ovaries respond to the hormones, how long you take the shots. The follicles that are in your ovaries, they start super tiny, super teeny, teeny, tiny. And the hormones cause them to grow, and they like them to grow to at least 18 millimeters in shape, length, width, diameter. 18 millimeters in diameter to do the retrieval. So I think they kind of keep an eye on it with that and go forward. So like on my right side, I've got like 2 that are 18 millimeters. I've got 2 that are 16. So they can retrieve those. And on the left side, it's like they're still down at like 10, 11. So they're not even gonna bother with that side probably, because those will not be viable eggs coming from those follicles. So for me, it was about 11 days. The next question is, what do you plan to do if you have an abundance of embryos? Try them all, adopt, destroy? Well, in our case, we don't have that issue. That's a good issue to have. We don't have it. But if, let's say I did have a miracle ovary situation and I produced like 15 eggs and got like 8 embryos, whatever, and I had extra embryos left over. Unfortunately, in Switzerland, you cannot adopt embryos, so I wouldn't be able to use them there. I am thinking the only thing I could probably do with them here in Switzerland is donate them for research. Maybe I guess they would destroy them. Here's the thing, I'm very scientific about the whole thing, so obviously if I could help another woman and give the embryos for adoption, I would totally do that to help somebody else out. But in terms of feeling like, oh my God, I can't destroy them because they're my babies, they're my embryos, I'm very scientific about that. I hope they could use them for research. If not, I'd have to see what the other options are, but I wouldn't have a strong attachment to the embryos that I couldn't use. I feel terrible saying that, but that's the honest answer. And we's honest over here on my YouTube channel. The next one is a comment from my friend Javier, who I've talked about on YouTube before. He just says, I love you, darling. That was his question. I love you too. Oh, and the next one, oh, I know this person too. Okay, can you feel all the love you have inside of you that wills you to put your body through this? I think that's just like a super inspirational thing she said, but I do have to say that it is empowering in a really twisted way that I'm like, yeah, I am gonna put my body through this. I'm gonna take all these pills, I'm gonna pump all these hormones, I'm gonna do everything that I can do. And being a woman, getting my feminist boots on, y'all, we kick so much ass. The fact that I can hopefully do this, maybe create this embryo with Andy, and then maybe hopefully carry a child and give birth to a child, like how awesome are women that we do this? The reason humanity goes forward is because of us, because of women. I know the men have to be there to do their part, and I love you, all you men out there who give your sperm to make it happen. But like the birthing and all that, guys, so kick ass. And from an IVF standpoint, I feel empowered that I'm kind of putting my vanity and everything to the side and just going, right, body, let's do this. Let's put on a bit of weight. Let's be bloated. That's fine. I can fix all that later. But I am strong emotionally and physically, and I'm gonna do everything I need to do. Cue the music. I am feeling my feminist oats right now. Let me feel my oats. That's a RuPaul's Drag Race reference, if you guys know who Gia Gunn is in RuPaul's Drag Race. Anyway, that's all the questions I got, guys. Kind of a little all over the place. I am in a really weird spot right now. We're having our retrieval tomorrow. I was gonna hope to document it in some way, but I'm going to the hospital by myself. Shock, horror, why isn't Andy going? He's gotta take Patrick to school. We got a kid, we still got responsibilities. So he's taking Patrick to school, and then he's meeting me at the hospital, and I'll see him after I'm out of the retrieval. And he does his part. But as far as like getting the video of me really groggy after surgery, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. And I kind of wanted to, because I was interested to see what I was gonna say when I came out of surgery. Guys, have you been through IVF? Do you have any more questions you want me to answer below? I'm happy to do that. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing. I will talk to you guys on the other side of retrieval. Keep everything crossed. Put some good energy out there for me. Be nice to somebody today. I'll take that instead. Just go be nice to somebody today. Do something. Have a good day. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.